Hello everybody, Mike, aka the Magico13 here with episode 37 of the Out of This World series. We are once again still doing things with Eve, as you are well aware. We are just after that plane change that we did. If you remember at the end of last episode, I had a crash that happened right around here, so it took us all the way back to here. You can see I've got another plane change actually set up, and I might change that a little bit. And now I have to rework all of it. But I have another plane change set up because I don't want to actually stay in a polar orbit that I literally just burned to make. And the reason for that is we don't have a Kethane scanner, and in order to actually do any good mapping, we need to get down below 500 kilometers. The periapsis is around there, but everything else isn't. I mean, once we get to like here, we're probably, maybe even before then, we're already out of range. So we're going to be only mapping for a tiny amount of time over here, and that's just really not practical, especially without a Kethane scanner. So if I'm going to worry about mapping Eve, I will probably end up sending a satellite out here. Probably not anytime soon, maybe in the next transfer window. Sending a satellite out here, putting that in a polar orbit with all the mapping that we have, and by then, assuming that I actually go ahead and do that, I should have maybe the high resolution mapper. Because currently we are stuck with the low resolution and the biome/anomaly detector. Those are somewhere in here. Here they are. Alright, I can't right click because I have this off. So, yeah, see, it says too high. And yeah, I'm just not going to worry about mapping the entire planet at this point. I instead am going to just worry about mapping near the equator, because that's where we're going to be sending our probes, is right around the equator. They're not going to be able to do large plane changes, so no reason to worry so much about that. So the next thing we have to do then is that maneuver, wasting delta V here. I mean, how much do we have left? Still 2.5 kilometers per second, but I mean, I'm kind of just wasting it. I probably spent like 300. I don't remember how long the burn was prior. Probably spent like 300 to get into this orbit, and I'm going to spend 300 to get back out of this orbit. And that's probably not equatorial anyway. So I'm going to adjust that just a little bit. Alright, I think that's good, and that will put us hopefully into a 10 hours, 11 hours. Yeah, that'll put us in a prograde orbit, because we were actually in a retrograde orbit last time. And you'll notice we are actually going down. And so that's a weird orbit too. But I'm just going to warp time up to that. I'm hoping we have an alarm for that. Yeah. There we go, delete on close. Can delete that. No idea how long this burn is going to take. I'm going to guess 50 seconds, because I think that's what this took prior, so I'm going to get this down to about 30 seconds. There we are, and let's burn. That was apparently going to take a minute. This is a bit longer of a burn than before, but I think that'll be okay. Okay, our plane change is complete. We have a periapsis of about 73 kilometers. I'm keeping that so that we can drop our apoapsis down using aerobraking. Hopefully we don't get flipped around again, but I think we'll be okay even if we do. I just need to point in the prograde direction. I'm going to fast forward so that that stops bouncing around, and then that's in about 9.5 hours. So we have plenty of time until then. So we are still going to be aerobraking at over 4 kilometers per second, so this is going to be a bit of an adventure. There's a good chance we'll get flipped around again, but I'm going to try to keep it pointed prograde the whole time. I didn't quick save at 100 kilometers, so we should be okay. But, oh, I'm losing it. It's starting to turn. No, now is the worst time. Yeah, I've lost it. Okay, at least don't lose the engines. Just stay attached. Come on. I don't know why my frame rate is so low right now, but it's only like, it's currently 14 frames per second as we aerobrake through Eve's atmosphere at 4 kilometers per second. Come on. I'm just trying to, fight the rocking and just trying to dampen that so that it doesn't spend too much time going sideways, because that's not very streamlined at all. But the thankful thing of this is that no one part is getting too heated. Well, I suppose except maybe these ones. But parts on one side are getting a chance to cool off. Okay, so we have passed our periapsis. Our apoapsis is still dropping fairly quickly. Hopefully we get out of the atmosphere soon. Okay, well I think we are going to be okay with this aerobraking. We're already back up to almost 78, almost 80 kilometers. This time going prograde around Eve. Our orbit has dropped from about 4,500 to 3.6 kilometers per second. So I should say from 4.5 to 3.6 kilometers per second. I shouldn't say 4,500 because that's meters per second. That'd be nuts for kilometers per second. It'd be kind of fun though. Yeah, so there's Eve. The clouds aren't super visible. I guess they're just not visible here, but they're definitely visible here. I can't see, I guess, any of the terrain, unless this is all ocean. But I think there's terrain hidden under here. And we are almost up to 90, so the atmosphere is pretty much nothing now. I'm going to actually try flipping this around. I might not be able to quite yet. It might be safe now to extend these, though we actually haven't had too much waste heat, and the reason for that is probably because we've been going through the atmosphere, and the radiators work better in atmosphere. You can see the power convected is decreasing fairly rapidly, actually, since we're pretty much completely in vacuum now. And so I do believe that was a successful second aerobraking that got us down to an apoapsis of 531 kilometers, so pretty good. I might do another aerobraking at a higher altitude just to bring this down to something like 250 and keep it at that. Alright, we are burning just to raise our periapsis up to 85, and with that we are going to be doing another short aerobraking pass to lower our apoapsis a little bit more, because 531 is a little too high. I'd like to have it closer to like 250, and then we can definitely be doing mapping of the equatorial region, and it's just a good orbit. I'll probably put this in a 250 by 250, and I haven't quite decided what to do with the communication satellites. I need to do a little bit of work on just calculating what orbit would be good for those. We are just now passing periapsis, and our apoapsis is actually going down to about what I wanted it. Unfortunately, it's probably going to drop a little too low. I was hoping for about 250, and this is probably going to get closer to 200 or even 150, because we're still only at about 85. So that was actually more aggressive than I thought. I was originally worried it wasn't going to be aggressive enough, so that works out kind of well, I guess. But 150 is fine by me. Hopefully it doesn't go too much more. Yeah, we're finally starting to climb up some. We were stuck at 85 for a while. This may actually drop us too low. If we get into about 120, I may need to kick us up a little bit. I'm actually going to kick this back up to 250. Or how about 200? I'll kick this back up to 200. And of course it's going to drop off again because we're still well within the atmosphere, but always kick it back up a little bit more. And now we are just raising our periapsis up to 200 kilometers to match our apoapsis, and then we will be done with all aerobraking maneuvers, hopefully. The next thing is just releasing the communication satellites, which I just need to do a little bit of math with to figure out where I need to put them. And we are deviating a little bit from this, but that's probably okay. We should just point prograde. So 200 by, almost 201 by 202, that's fairly circular. I mean, what's our eccentricity? 0.0009. So yeah, it's very, very circular. And we are going to spend about half the orbit not in communication with Kerbin, unfortunately, but that's just one of the side effects of being so low. But yeah, so our orbit is fairly finalized. I'm probably not going to move it from this for a while. Let's see how much fuel we have left. Still 2 kilometers per second. That might be enough to return to Kerbin in the future. Which would be good, because I'm sure Tomfred and Maxim Kerman would love to return at some point. But I need to figure out where to send the communication satellites, and then those will probably be the next thing I do. Alright, after some calculations, it looks like I need to put the 4 of them into roughly 2 megameter orbits. It's 3 megameters divided by radical 2, which ends up being like 2.1. But I'm just going to put them in 2 megameter orbits just in case. That gives me a little bit of wiggle room. Alright, we are definitely in range. We have everything set up. So I'm going to... This one has its antenna extended. I'm just using that because I don't have an omnidirectional on here. I'm going to try this one. Let's quick save just in case, because there's a good chance I'm going to mess this up pretty spectacularly. So let's decouple this, switch to it. I need to, let's go into chase cam and move it, turn RCS on. Do I not have a connection? Oh wow, the delay is 87 seconds. I have to wait over a minute to do this? I pressed that button a lot. Oh wow, canceling a command even takes time. I may need to turn off... That's stupid that canceling a command takes that much time. Canceling the cancel command, I think, also takes that much time. I may need to turn off signal delay. Because otherwise there's no way I'm going to be able to do this. An 87-second signal delay. Yeah, because I need to do this by hand. I'm using RCS, not... this can't handle RCS. Wow. Okay, yeah, I'm going to have to turn off signal delay because there's no way I'm going to be able to do this with a 1.5-minute delay. I mean, the first command hasn't even gone through yet. So, yeah, I'm going to quick load. Okay, well, I got it. Well, you can't tell now, but I got it so that I just have to be connected, and so I got to move my mic a little bit. Ran into tons of issues, so that was an adventure. I just had to deal with several crashes trying to get around that, but I think we're okay now. So I still have that quick save just in case, but I should be able to decouple this, switch to it, and I am still connected, so I can turn RCS on and just push it out. And now it's just a matter of pretty much waiting until it drifts out. Maybe speed up some time warp. And we can activate this and point it at Kerbal. There we are. And now that we are all the way out here, we can activate the omnidirectional. And if it weren't for this, you would pretty much understand why I call this the Tadpole. This is actually the second generation. The first generation did not have the antenna, and it only had one RTG. You can see we don't have any batteries. We just have these two RTGs, which provide us with continuous power, and the only fuel we have is RCS. So now we just need to turn around. Luckily, this somehow doesn't actually have any substantial mass, so we don't need to worry too much about that. Turn RCS on. Let's go make sure we are in chase cam. Go up or down. Down works too. And then forward. Now we just need to get this up to 2 megameters, preferably, if we can. I may not have enough monoprop to do that, but we're going to try. So I'm probably going to be doing this for a while. You're probably not going to want to watch that. So I will see you when I've at least got this one set up, and I will probably end up skipping most of the next ones also, and just show you the final product. So close to about 1.2. So unfortunately I'm going to have to drop the apoapsis that we want to get down from 2 to about 1.5. Unfortunately I just don't have, I'm short 150 meters per second on RCS. I suppose I could alleviate that by using the station, burn some of the fuel to get back up here, but that just seems silly after everything we've already done. So I'm going to load that quick save and just try this again at 1.5 megameters. So we are pretty much stuck there with an orbital period of just over 2 hours. 2 hours, 48 seconds. Okay. And that's, pretty much it for this. We're completely out of monoprop. And now we just need to release another one. That took about an hour with a 2-hour orbital period. Each one needs to be spaced a half-hour apart. So if I release another one in about 5 minutes of game time, then let's actually add an alarm, a raw time alarm for 5 minutes from now. Then that should put one on the other side, and then we just need to release a half hour afterwards. Hopefully that should be the right way of doing that. I'm gonna quick save here. I know that orbit's not perfect, but we will see if we can do better next time. Oh, I'm not completely moronic. I actually did put a omnidirectional on here, and I just had it hidden. I thought for some reason I didn't put an omnidirectional on, but I'm not that stupid apparently. Cool, I don't need to worry so much about this then. So I couldn't get it all that great. The fourth one was having a really tough time actually getting into here. And I actually managed to get the length, the orbital period of this, the fourth one, almost the same as the first one. So these two are pretty much always going to stay like this. These two are going to kind of move around a little bit, unfortunately, since they have smaller ones, so this one, smaller orbits, so this one's going to slowly creep up on this one, eventually surpass it. This one's going to do the same, kind of this way. Unfortunately, these two aren't quite opposite each other, but all of them are out of RCS, so there's not a whole lot I can do about it, and at the very least, they may not be perfect, but they are functional. So we will, one of these will always be visible to Kerbin, and from that we should be able to bounce the signal off to the Eve expedition ship. I'm a little unsure as to whether these two can communicate or if these two can communicate, which has me saddened if they can't. This one really needs to be a little further over, but I don't really want to go back through and redo all of that. And they're honestly not all that necessary because we have communication with Kerbin half the time and we have Kerbals, so don't really even need communication. It's just mostly for transmitting science and for these guys who only, I believe, have the 500 kilometer things, so we need to make sure this has communication when we actually go to drop those, which will have to be in the next episode. But in the meantime, Eve now has a ring. Technically, kind of two of them, but a ring of small tadpoles with hats. Yeah, they look like they're tadpoles with hats, which is entertaining to me. Tadpole with a hat. So I want to thank you all for watching. I will be doing the landing probe, so we'll actually be landing with probes on Eve, no people for now. But thank you all for watching. I will see you all next time.